our side of what we know and how we do things. The first thing I like to say is acknowledge that the ministry, they are our customers, just like many other ministries. And they are not just starting. They have been our customers for quite a number of years. And we are cooperating with them fully in respect of the committee's requests and the directions. The second thing I like to assure you, Chair, and the honorable members and the ministries that all records are there and they are intact.
Did you come with a copy for us?
We've provided several pieces of information. No, for in terms of a written response, because we got the invitation yesterday. We are still working on it, but everything that we are going to say.
Do you have a printout of the fuel card since 2021?
Yes, we have provided, in fact, the information to not only the police, but also to the ministry. And I think we had provided some information to Parliament also.
Was it since 2021?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And we are ready to provide any other record that is required. And our records go to a specific transaction. So there is no aggregation. We can drill down to a particular transaction at a specific service station. And for us, we do what the customer tells us to do, because we have got different ways of managing the cards that we give out. Normally, we have different needs from different customers, and we can customize the card according to your needs and what you want to do. Or how you want to carry out your operations, because most of our customers do not do exactly the same thing. They do different things. Just to elaborate a bit is that, first of all, we do not process or give out cards or put in the amounts to be consumed without a written request. So we must we must receive a written request, and the request has to come from someone who is authorized to make the request. And then the card can be customized in different ways. We can give you an individual card, meaning that the card is in your name. And then that card can do several things. It can fuel one car, it can fuel several cars, you can buy gas with it. Because some people want to control the activities differently. Some customers prefer that one individual has the card and they control the consumption of the fleet. Some other customers prefer that the fleet, each car has its own card. So that you give out many cards, each card customized to a specific vehicle. You can even go a step further and put limits on those cards. So, for example, my car has a specific card, and there is a limit of how much it can consume at any one moment in time. In some cases also, some customers request that we go a step further so that the card and the pump and the transaction is linked to the POS. So all these options are available. So depending on what the customer needs, then we customize it in that respect. Now, you know, the card is issued by us, but the consumption is at the service station. And the service stations are run by independent business people who also run their operations. And therefore, the many transactions that are going on in different stations all over the country. But every end of the month, we give each customer a statement. So you receive a statement so that you go through it and tell us if you notice anything that is not correct.
Who is the customer? Specifically who?
For example, the ministry will receive
who receives?
Normally, we have people who are authorized to receive the statement. So the ministry themselves will tell us who can receive the...
Who has been receiving in this case?
For the ministry, we have an extranet, so they have access. They gave us names of people who have access, who can go through the transactions.
Who are these?
You have the names? Eh?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Currently, the nominated person is Jackson Nabongo.
And in 2021?
His predecessor, there was Daniel Kalule and Rosemary Asimwe.
Okay.
And every now and then we do receive a query, and these the customer and the statement is something that is applied to even myself. I receive my own statement because I also consume. I go through it, and if I see something that I cannot remember or understand, I make a query, and then we check it. So far, all the information that has been requested, we received a request from the parliamentary committee. We received a request from the police. We received a request from the ministry. We have provided all the information. And any further drilling down that needs to be done, because these transactions are not in one location. They're in different locations, different service stations. We will be able to drill down and provide all the records, and then exactly if it is required, we unravel what happened. And this is normal for us. This is what we do every time that there is that there is an issue. So these are our this is our input into the ongoing proceedings. And we are available all the time, anytime, to be able to continue providing what is required.
Okay. Now, I just want you to help us understand. On 30th of July 2022, the senior accountant in Bukoto, first I made say put fuel worth 62,000. He put petrol 250,000 on the same day. Again on the same day. This was a difference of, actually, let me just read the time. The first transaction on 30th July 2022 was at 11:39. This I think is AM, 62,000. The second transaction from the same petrol station in Bukoto, senior accountant, at 11, I think this is going backwards, 11:31, withdrew 250 petrol. Again, at 11:30, he withdrew another 250,000. Again, at 11:15, he withdrew 480,000. The same day, 30th July 2022. The same day again, at 11:13, you can imagine this is a difference of 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Senior accountant, petrol again, now 400,000. From the same petrol station. Now, under what circumstances, even if it was a car, a difference of 2-3 minutes, what kind of fuel tank is this?
So, follows. It is possible to have this kind of thing, and this is the explanation. I'm not saying that that's what happened in that particular case, but it is possible because we do have customers, for example, a contractor.
Maybe explain what you mean by this kind of thing.
Yes.
What is this kind of thing?
No, these type of transactions, we do see them. Let me give you an example. A contractor who is working on a road will have a fleet of vehicles with the drivers. And what happens is that at a particular time, the person who has the card, in this case, the contractor specified that I only want this individual to control this card. The vehicles will come to the station, and then one by one they will fuel, and as each fuels, then they run the card. In this case, the card is in the name of the person or the company, one card which is being used for the whole fleet.
Okay, can we ask the senior accountant? Just
yes.
Because you are giving us a scenario.
Yes.
But let's hear from him, then you give us a response. Senior accountant.
Chair, before senior accountant, I wanted to ask the managing director, Bukot, how many fuel pumps do you have? Because this one, the same time, almost at the same time, different of 2 minutes. I agree with you that the fleet of vehicles can come. But the time, you have over 10 pumps there or what?
No, we do have a number of pumps, and they cannot be 10. Most of the time, they will be 3 or 4, depending on the number of islands and so on. But you know, the time that the chair has given us, the time the card ran, is not necessarily the time that the vehicles fueled. So normally what will happen is that the vehicle will fuel, the transaction takes a bit of time. This is purely just to give you the scenario of what happens sometimes. So it's possible that the vehicles fuel slightly earlier, slightly later, but then this is the sequence at which the card is run. Because as you fuel, one moves out and then there is a queue.
Maybe what the Honorable is asking you,
Yes.
because this is all petrol. Normally at a fuel station, there are 2 pumps. Now, these are 6 transactions, 5 transactions, fueling 400,000, fueling 250, fueling 480. I'm sure it takes more than 5 minutes. Now the difference, 11:13, 11:15, that's a difference of 3 minutes. 2 minutes actually. 11:15, 11:30, a difference of 15 minutes. But there's another one, 11:30, 11:31, a difference of 1 minute. How is this possible?
You know, on the EPT machine where you run the card, you cannot run 2 transactions simultaneously. And sometimes, I'm sure some of you have experienced this, that it can take sometimes it can work quicker, sometimes it can take a bit of delay. Why? Because of network. So, and this is why I'm saying that, because as soon as the attendant finishes fueling the car, it has to move to give space to someone else who is coming in. And that at the moment he finishes fueling and he's taking the total amount and they are running and he's running the card, this activity will sometimes happen when the vehicle is already out of the pump, someone else is fueling. When you have a big fleet of vehicles and the person running the card is there, it is quite possible that the vehicles are being fueled, someone is bringing the record, and the person who is running the card is someone else to...
Maybe let's ask the accountant.
To collect what they have spent.
Because we are told the accountant has only 500,000 per month. This is a total of 1.1 million, around roughly 1.1 million in one day. Now, Total is telling us it is possible the senior accountant may have had many cars. But where was he getting the extra fuel? Okay, but since he's here, let us hear.
Given chance to explain myself out today. Chair, truth be told, I joined this ministry in 2021 in April, and I only got 1 card from my predecessor through an accounts assistant after him handing over her handover report to the then principal accountant. This card is 162905. Upon the change or the retirement of the then transport officer Kalule, and then Mr. Nabong coming on board as a transport officer, he changed the cards, and we were provided with new cards. The old card that I got from Mariam, the then senior accountant, who had been transferred to Ministry of to Education Service Commission was blocked. And I received card number 196578. I still have these cards. I've never given them out, more so when I realized that there was an investigation going on. The cards that were mentioned here have never been in my possession. That is card number 63820 with 41 millions, card number 77888 with 68 millions, and card number 151774 with 100 millions. Good enough, all the transport officers are here. They will tell this committee when these cards were processed and how they came into existence, and since my predecessor did not own any, how they've been operating under the names or under the titles of senior accountants. Chair, to note is that when I look at these cards, and maybe Toto can bear me witness, these cards are issued out serially. And for example, this card of 41 millions, it's 63820. My predecessor gave me 162905, meaning that this card was created way before I joined the Ministry of Trade. When we get to the second one of 77888,
But just some clarification. Card number 63820 was active at the same time 162905 was active, and both under the names senior accountant. So you mean there was a card when you were a senior accountant that was in your names, but you didn't know, you had no knowledge about?
this is what I believe, and it's very unfortunate for some of us to be brought on board when the actual people who could be in the know of what has been happening are here. But thank you,
Who are
the
they?
committee.
Who are they?
We have the former transport officer.
Kindly
Mr.
come
Kaule.
and get a microphone.
We have Madam
Rose?
Rose. She's here. She never gave me a card. Neither did Kaule. But unfortunately, when I looked into, when I accessed his handover report, this card was there, 77888, as in the names of, in the title of senior accountant, and besides that, Nelson Baliejusa. But these are quite old cards that have been in the system for some good time. So it's very painful for our names to be in papers, to be in social media, when actually we are innocent, and I've never received any card in this line. I only have two cards, one that was blocked when I received one from Nabong. And unfortunately, the times I've gone to Nabong to verify from whatever he has, he never gave me information. He kept on deep-dialing. So it's a pain. There are some questions that I kept on asking myself. For example, who issues these fuel cards? Of course, there is an authority, as Total has said. No single individual can go to Total and access a ministry or an authority card without the authority of the accounting officer or without the authority of the transport officer. When I went to Nabong, I wanted to find out when these cards were brought into circulation. Good enough, Toto is here. They can assess and ascertain when these cards came into play and when Nelson joined the Ministry of Trade. And also, if that's not enough, the audit trail can be done through cameras to ascertain who this particular person has been drawing fuel using these cards. titled senior accountant. And of course, they've also told us that these statements have always been submitted to the authority. Now, my question to my colleagues is, if they've ascertained this, because these are statements with the cards that are well stipulated, how come that these cards have been running? In the ministry, the structure provides for only one senior accountant, and not 3, not 4, not 2. But someone running this docket, how could you fail to ascertain that these cards are in circulation with an individual titled senior accountant? Maybe I need to give a brief of how I believe these procedures should be of acquisition of these cards. Whenever an officer joins a ministry or an authority, the policy where I've worked is that he accesses an office where his predecessor has been. He gets a card from his predecessor through the head of department. For example, in this place, in this time round, the principal accountant. And this is what I did when I joined the ministry. However, in a situation where he can not access that card, the authority writes to Total, and the Total issues out a card, not in the names of an individual, but titled, and in this case, a senior accountant. Then, when it comes to allocation of fuel, requisitions are always made. And these requisitions are verified, are signed by the relevant officers. And it's the responsibility of the transport officer to raise these requisitions because he runs this docket. These requisitions will stipulate the names of the individuals who are getting this fuel, plus the card numbers. And then after, the payments are made, this money reaches Total, and every individual is given fuel as per the card stipulated. So I also do not know whether this was always followed, because I believe and I've ever seen requisitions being made by these gentlemen.
Okay, just a minute.
Thank you so much.
Total, you are the one who issues these cards. This is true? Under the authorization or request of the ministry. Now, can you give us all the requests since 2021?
That information has already been provided.
To who?
I believe to the parliamentary committee, the police.
To whoever, all the requests.
Yes, we have provided all this information.
Okay, now, transport officer who is seated next to Nelson, Madam Rose.